Did you know that there is a place called Akbar Nagar in India? It's a town near Agra in Uttar Pradesh and was founded by Mughal Emperor Akbar the Great. Let's get to know him in this episode of Great Men. Welcome to my channel. 1542, a year significant for three reasons. The French inventor of dialysis machines died. The most successful emperor of the mules was born. And Florence Nightingale, the woman who revolutionized nursing, was also born. Let's focus on the second one. Jalal ad-Din Muhammad Akbar was born in the year 1542 in Amarket Fort, which is now in Pakistan. At the time, his father, Babur, had just conquered India and established the Mughal Empire. But the empire was not united yet. There were rebellions all over. His mother, Rahim Begum, was one of Babur's wives and a maidservant of Nur Jahan, his favorite wife. Rahim belonged to the Turco-Mongol heritage like Timur and Genghis Khan, whereas Babur had a mix of Persian and Mongol ancestry. Historians debate whether Akbar was a descendant of Genghis Khan through Babur, or whether he was a mere cousin of Timur. Either way, the family's claim to the throne of Khwarezmia through their paternal lineage made them eligible to rule the vast territories of the Middle Ages. Akbar spent his early years traveling with his father on military campaigns across the subcontinent. In 1556, when Akbar was only 13 years old, Babur died, and young Akbar became the new emperor. He assumed the title Jahangir, which means, "The world is my cinch." It's easy for a teenager to become an overnight sensation, but it's much harder to stay relevant. His advisors did not think that he was mature enough to rule such a vast empire, so they appointed Bairam Khan as his tutor and regent, until he turned 18. When Akbar took the throne, he inherited a divided empire. His first challenge was to assert his authority and unify the territories under his rule. This brings us to the first important event in Akbar's life, the Second Battle of Panipat. In 1556, Himyu, a Hindu merchant who later became an emperor of Delhi, led a rebellion against the Mughal. Akbar was just 13 years old and was captured by Himyu's army. However, Akbar escaped and regrouped his forces under the guidance of his tutor, Bairam Khan. They confronted Himyu at the Second Battle of Panipat, where the young emperor personally defeated Himyu and laid siege to Delhi. With the help of his nobles, Akbar consolidated his power in northern India. Later, Akbar formally took the title of Akbar, meaning great, to commemorate his victory at the battle. He was just getting started. In the following decades, Akbar went on to conquer large parts of Rajputana, Gujarat, and Bengal, expanding his empire from the Hindu Kush mountains to the Bay of Bengal. This brings us to the next important event in Akbar's life. The conquest of Gujarat was ruled by Sultan Bahadur Shah, who initially resisted the mules, but was defeated and imprisoned. Rather than executing him, Akbar offered him two options, either death or conversion to Islam. When Bahadur refused both, Akbar ordered him to be blinded and thrown into a dungeon where he died. This was the beginning of Akbar's infamous religious policies. It is true that many of the great empires of the past were built on the foundation of religious tolerance, cultural exchange, and acceptance. Similarly, Akbar had a policy of Suli Kul, which literally translates to peace with all. One of his most notable acts was the Rajput alliance. Marriages were arranged between Rajput princesses and the imperial family to forge alliances and end hostilities. Akbar married a Rajput princess named Jordabai, whom he later divorced to marry a Persian princess. The story of their relationship is famously depicted in the epic romance film Jodha Akbar, starring Hrithik Roshan and Aishwarya. Another notable act of religious tolerance was the abolition of jizya. This was a tax that non-Muslims had to pay to the Muslim rulers, which was reintroduced by Mughal Emperor Feroz Shah. After conquering large areas of Raj, Akbar realized that the local rulers and their people would never accept Islam. Therefore, instead of forcing them to convert, he abolished the tax and gave the Rajputs positions of power in his administration. As for Bengal, the Muslim-majority region was incorporated into the empire after defeating the local king Karar Khan. Though a Muslim ruler himself, Akbar was not interested in expanding Islam. Instead, he wanted to expand his empire and keep it united. To achieve this, he introduced in Ilahi, also known as the Universal Path, which combined elements of Islam, Christianity, Hinduism, Zoroastrianism, Sikhism, and other religions. Although this new faith did not catch on among his subjects, Akbar's religious views did encourage cultural exchange, economic growth, and mutual respect between different religions. Apart from his religious reforms, Akbar introduced several administrative and economic reforms. For instance, He implemented tax reforms to increase revenue and promote agriculture. He also introduced a merit-based system in which officials were appointed on the basis of their abilities rather than their social status. Furthermore, he created a professional civil service called the Mansabdari system, which was based on the Ottoman and Persian models. This system divided government positions into military and civil services, both of which were ranked according to Mansab means rank or status. Officers were paid salaries according to their Mansab, and were given land grants called jagir, which were revenue-generating estates that provided them with income. If they held influential positions, they could amass a lot of wealth, sometimes rivaling the wealth of the emperor himself. In addition to these reforms, Akbar also undertook several building projects, including the construction of new cities such as Fatehpur Sikri and the famous Taj Mahal. His efforts to make Agra into a center of trade led to the establishment of a stock exchange there, making it the first city in the world to have one. Let's talk about Akbar's personality. He was illiterate but wise, spoke fluent Persian but little Urdu and Hindi, and dressed in the style of the Roman. He enjoyed hunting, riding horses and elephants, and kept a large stable of elephants. Despite being half Rajput himself, he was criticized for not knowing the local language or customs. However, he was a visionary leader who saw beyond religion and social status. He believed in the equality of all people and appointed people of all backgrounds to influential positions in his administration. He promoted trade and cultural exchange with other countries and was known for his love of music and art. He was so passionate about music that he composed his own ragas and ghazals and performed them in public. One of the most significant aspects of Akbar's personality was his philosophy of inclusive governance, which he called Ibadat Khana. This was a gathering of scholars from different religions who came together to discuss and debate various religious and philosophical topics. Akbar encouraged open discussions and debates, and even participated in them himself. He believed that such gatherings could lead to greater understanding and tolerance among different religions. Now, let's talk about his arts. Akbar was a great patron of the arts and literature, and his court was home to some of the most talented artists and poets of his time. He commissioned the creation of several magnificent works of art, including which is a collection of over 2,000 illustrations depicting scenes from the life of the emperor. He also assembled a group of 9 jewels, or Navartanas, who were renowned for their talents in poetry, music, art, and other fields. These included the famous poet Amir Khusro, the astronomer and mathematician Jami, the historian and geographer Abul Fazl, and the painter Govardhan Chand. Govardhan Chand designed the iconic peacock throne, one of the wonders of the world. Akbar's love for music led to the development of a distinct style of Indian classical music known as dhru. He also introduced several new musical instruments, including the sitar. Akbar's reign was marked by peace, prosperity, and cultural flourishing, but it was not without its challenges. He faced rebellions and wars with neighboring kingdoms, and he had to deal with the intrigues and rivalries of his own court. Nevertheless, he managed to maintain control over his vast empire until his death in 1605. So let's move on to the next important event in Akbar's life. His death. Akbar died on October 20th at the age of 63 in Agra. He suffered from stomach ailments for 10 years, and during his final illness, he summoned his son and heir Prince Salim, later known as Jahangir, and formally transferred his power to him. Jahangir, however, had already been managing the empire while Akbar was ill, and he continued to rule after his father's death. So how did Akbar shape Indian history? During his reign, the empire reached its territorial zenith, laying the foundations for the unified India. He brought stability to the subcontinent after decades of foreign invasions and ruled by local warlords. He established a centralized and professionalized government, introducing innovative administrative reforms that helped to ensure the smooth functioning of the state. His economic policies, such as the introduction of a standardized currency and the promotion of trade and commerce, helped to stimulate economic growth and prosperity. He also initiated major building projects, including the construction of new cities and public works that left a lasting legacy on the subcontinent's architectural landscape. Finally, his religious policies, although controversial, aimed at promoting religious tolerance and harmony, which had a profound impact on the cultural and social fabric of India. And that's all for today. Tell us your favorite fact about Akbar in the comments below. And if you want more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.